Gula from Gula Tech Adventures, and in this week's video, we are going to discuss the RSA 2024 conference. But before we get to that, I'd like to thank all the subscribers and everybody who watches the channel. We crossed 100,000 subscribers just before the RSA conference. Actually, we're up to 120,000 today. So if you like the content that we're doing, we've got a lot of great things planned. We got some more cool 3D animation, a lot of different things on cyber and startups that we're going to be talking about. But once again, just thank you very much. And I'm going to keep up trying to make content that people like. All right. So RSA 2024. Now, I haven't done a lot of RSA content on the channel in the past. But basically, the life of somebody who's a former founder, venture capital, cyber policy guy, it's really interesting. Monday tends to be venture capital day for us. We go to a wide variety of meetings. And by the way, the us is me and my wife, Cindy. Tuesday, we tend to walk the floor and really try to see all of our portfolio companies, but kind of see what's out there. And then Wednesday, we usually attend the Forge Point Cybersecurity Dinner, which is sort of like a who's who in cyber. And we also sponsor a cigar party. This year, we sponsored it with Surefire. They're the guys from the last video, and we had a great time. We get a lot of our portfolio companies and CISOs that come to that. So just based on all that, I'm going to give feedback about the conference that I think should be interesting to anybody who's in cyber or in just tech startups in general. So the first big headline, and this really shouldn't be a surprise, but AI was probably the most prominent topic that we talked about on Monday at a variety of these venture capital events. We attended the Piper Sandler conference. We also attended a Rain Capital and Sorensen AI panel. Sorensen's a co-investor with Gula Tech in Sandfly, the Sandfly company. And I was jokingly calling the RSA conference the RSAI conference, right? Because everybody was either doing security for AI or using AI for security. And we've done a lot of videos on the channel here about, the role of AI. Can you make a SOC level 1 person's job a delight? And it really looks like we're going down that road. But then there's all sorts of issues with security and access control to who can talk to these AIs and who's designing them. And we basically heard a lot of really different topics. Like, if you're doing web application auditing, you're probably already doing LLM based web application audit. So maybe you're auditing AI today. Personally, I still think it's really hard to reverse engineer an LLM. We do not have the vulnerability scanning or sort of configuration compliance audit for LLMs that are out there, but we got a few pitches from a few companies. That's something that I'm interested in investing from Gula Tech and kind of moving things forward. Now, the second thing that I think is a major headline, this is something I was not expecting for the AI conversation, is we met a lot of CISOs who were basically rolling their own security stacks, and they were motivated by using AI to do this. Now, this has a couple interesting ramifications. First of all, it's not new. CISOs have always tried to roll their own security stacks and not do vendor when they can. By and far, most CISOs spend time with with basically vendors and whatnot. But with the advent of OpenAI and all these other different LLMs that you can download and do there, CISOs are creating a lot of interesting value. Now, if you're a startup in cybersecurity, this is a couple of ramifications. So I used to tell people, look, if you're doing a cyber widget, a cyber platform, you have to be better and less expensive than Microsoft. Well, now, not only you have to beat Microsoft at what they're doing, you've got to beat what the CISOs are doing in their own with their own teams, with their own tech inside the own walls of their company. And a lot of times CISOs, they want to go on the ride. They want to build these things. So even if you come up with something twice as better that they're doing, they still might want to, do something internal, whether it's for recruiting reasons or because they've invested some money in it and that sort of thing. But anyway, I talked to a number of CISOs who are rolling their own SOC automation stuff, their own incident response stuff, their own GRC policy, their own help desk type of thing. So there's a lot of CISOs who are doing stuff like that already. And then I think my last comment on AI is when we walk the floor, we didn't get the AI flavor. A lot of booths mentioned that they were using AI, but they were usually really clearly marked. Are they doing AI for cybersecurity, or are they doing cybersecurity for AI? It's pretty easy to find that kind of stuff. Well, more on the floor here in a minute. Now, usually another thing we do at RSA is that we actually go to a number of policy discussions. This year, we attended one. It was Chatham House rules, that sort of thing. But it was a discussion that was really talking about how ransomware might be accelerating the closures of hospitals across the country. We have like 1,000 less hospitals than we did before COVID. There's a lot of reasons for that. One of those reasons might be some hospitals are not doing handling ransomware well, and that's because they are spending money on beds, on people, and supplies. And if that's the case, that's the case. But I think it was really interesting, and something that Cindy and I want to kind of position the Gula Tech Foundation for is helping people act locally. And I think a lot of times we talk to people in cybersecurity who just they have some imposter syndrome. They just don't feel what their role is there. Wherever you live, there's probably a hospital, there's probably a water power plant, there's probably a county team that might not have the cyber chops that you do. And if you could volunteer locally and join a board, get involved, don't be intimidated by a bunch of doctors running a hospital. You're probably going to have just as much of what to say, how to protect patient data and respond to ransomware as other folks in cyber. So the big theme for some of the cyber policy things we went to was really act locally. Now we do run into people from ONCD, people from DISA, people from CISA, DoD and whatnot, and that's always fun to talk to those people. There's a lot of people from government who are very involved with RSA, and they want to engage the startup community, they want to engage the vendor community, and they're also pushing their agenda, right? So like CISA was really pushing the ability to do secure by design, and they were actually swearing companies like having them take the pledge, so to speak. I wasn't aware of this at the VC event that we sponsored with Sapphire, Northwest, and ForgePoint. I actually, had everybody swear that they would not invest in a company that would harm the American public. And of course, everybody's kind of a little tongue in cheek like that. But when you look at the negative impacts of social media and AI and things like that, it's really something front and center that venture capitalists have a responsibility to do. So we were definitely pushing that as a topic and trying really hard to make sure people understood that venture capital is a critical role as far as growing America and keeping us competitive and safe against China and Russia and just ourselves really as we invent more and more technology that can exploit us. All right, so the last thing we did at RSA is we walked the floor. And there's a whole bunch of interesting things that we saw. Now, first of all, I'm going to go back to last year we did a video about how to market your company, how to conference, and we went to Mousetrap Con 24, right, where we created this fake conference about mousetraps and killing mice and pests and things like that. And it's designed to really help people have a good booth. So as we walked the floor this year, we saw very, very few booths that we didn't know what people were doing. And when Cindy and I walk around the floor, we're very interested in trying to see, okay, is that a really, did that catch our attention? Because it's so hard with so many people in such a crowded space to do it. We only saw a few booths that I would give an F to, and I'm not gonna mention them by name, but literally we're staring at the booth and it says we do security, that kind of thing. And I don't know the name of the company, don't know what they do, don't know what they mean by security. But most of the time, you could look at a booth and understand what it is. And years past, it wasn't like that. And I think if you're studying the cyber industry, you've realized that in 2023, we had a lot of layoffs. A lot of people had to cut back on their sales and marketing. And what I'm guessing is that we have a lot more founder led booths, founder led programs where people are basically trying to say, hey, let's do what we do and not, let's say what we do and put that on the website, not mess around trying to be cute or, have an angle on compliance or AI. That's not our core thing. So we were very happy to see that. We stopped a lot of booths. I'm wearing the Hunters shirt today. I thought the Hunters guys did a great job representing what they do, and of course, booths are not just for customers, right? They're for recruiting. They're for showing your competition that you're strong and you have a lot of great tech and great ideas. But that was definitely a good booth. Another booth we stopped by was the Tenable booth, and of course, we always stop by and say hi and see old friends. But I thought the booth this year was really good. What was interesting is our hotel key was for the RSA conference, and we were actually at the conference probably about 3 days before we were with somebody. They dropped their key, and we're like, "Oh, look at that, a Tenable key! That's really cool. I didn't know Tenable did that." And then we flipped over our room key, and we saw that there. So we were really impressed that Tenable did that, but it was one of those things that it's so pervasive and so everywhere. We were having fun pointing it out to people. So I hope the Tenable folks who invested in the room keys, I drew some more attention to that. Other big things that we saw on the floor, we tried to stop by and see all the the Gula Tech portfolio companies. So we stopped by Huntress, we stopped by Gravwell, and of course Gravwell is getting a lot of benefit from the Cisco Splunk acquisition. They were getting a lot of people stopping by, talking about that. That was good. We stopped by the Shard Security. We saw the CEO Bob Lamb. He had a great presence there with some partners from KPMG and Entrust. And that's an example. I always tell people, look, when you go to a conference, you don't have to go alone, right? If you can bring some partners there, you can get a bigger presence, bigger bang for your buck. Now, some of our other portfolio companies, such as Halcyon, they bought out a bar, and they had customer events, all while they were there at that RSA. And again, it's another way to go to a conference and do that. Similarly, Scythe did something like that. Conceal did something like that. And some people just kind of invested in other events. Like I said originally, Surefire co-sponsored the cigar event with us, and we had a lot of CISOs there, a lot of industry folks, and a lot of we actually had people crash to pitch us, which I think that's always good when somebody crashes a party and they come with a cigar, and I'm like, all right, you get 5 seconds. What do you want to do? So it's definitely good stuff. But overall, I thought that the tone and sort of the excitement of cybersecurity was the highest it's ever been since before COVID. At the Piper Sandler event, people were openly talking about mergers and acquisitions. We see that directly with some of our portfolio companies who are going through that right now. We were also heard some people talk about higher valuations, for cybersecurity companies, and I think that's great. But what I was really impressed about was the number of people that I've known who I've either worked with at Tenable or worked with at other startups who are starting another company. And they pulled Cindy and I aside and said, hey, look, we want to pitch you. We want to do, get your feedback on this kind of stuff. We're thinking about doing X, Y, and Z. And these are really good, innovative ideas. I kind of think that some of the negative impact from COVID and the downward economy is kind of giving people a view that cyber is not this innovative thing. And the reality is it's so many different things. Of course, we hate the name cyber. We want to call it data care and whatnot. But the idea that there's more innovation is not just AI is definitely alive and well. So we're definitely feel like the conference was worth attending. It's definitely a level of effort for people who are traveling from the East Coast, and you definitely get overwhelmed if you've been in the industry for more than 5 years. Seeing friends, seeing people that you haven't seen in a long time, and it's always good to prioritize doing those different kind of things. But in summary, that's kind of where we're at. So AI was the big headline. Like I said, at the RSAI conference. From a policy point of view, the federal government is definitely showing up and very, very engaged, more so than ever before. And, if you're trying to figure out how to fit in, try to volunteer locally, which was good. And then, now's a great time to start a startup. So if you've got an idea for a problem to solve, reference our 5-slide pitch deck, reference everything we do on the VC 101 side of this channel. And, good luck bringing your vision to life. And if you want help, give us a call at Gula Tech. And thanks again for watching this. So if you like this video, give us a subscribe and a follow there. Connect with us on LinkedIn. And once again, I'm Ron Gula. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at RSA next year.